All right, the topic of today's video is going to be how to completely film hunts straight from your smartphone. In the video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need, how to use it, where to get it, and then I'm going to show some hunts, throughout the whole video that I've actually filmed from my smartphone. So the next thing I want to talk about is I want to go into a little bit more specifics on what you need. So let's talk about that for a second. You're going to need 4 different things in order to make this work. First thing you're going to need is a smartphone, preferably an iPhone. That's what I use. That's what has the most attachments available to it, and the picture quality on them is just really great. The second thing you're going to need is a phone mount. You can find these in most tripod kits, and essentially what you're going to use this for is to connect your phone to the third thing that we're going to need, which is a camera arm. I personally run the Hawk hard arm. It's only about 60 bucks and it's rock solid. It doesn't have the best reach, but for all intents and purposes and for dipping your feet into the filming world, it's going to do just fine for you. And the last thing you're going to need is a cell phone zoom lens kit specific to the type of phone that you're running. These zoom lens kits are made for specific phones. They're basically a zoom lens that's made to fit over your phone's existing camera, and what it allows you to do is get zoomed in footage of an animal or animals without losing any pixels. Because if you've ever tried to zoom in on a cell phone before, you know that it doesn't have an optical zoom. It just blows up and the pixels get bigger and bigger and the image quality degrades the farther that you zoom in. So you really do need one of these. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is how I set this up and what it looks like. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is to hook up your camera arm to the tree. Once you get in your tree stand and you're all settled, you're going to put your camera arm in. I tried using a Versa strap when I first got this and it just didn't get the arm tight enough, so you're going to have to use the ratchet strap that it came with. If you hold the springs back when you do it, you can do it quite enough to get away with murder, so it isn't really a detriment in my experience. Next, you're going to put the actual camera arm on. These things come together. You don't have to purchase either one of them separately. If you get the Hawk camera arm or any other type of camera arm, most of the time they come with the base. And for the sake of the video, I just slammed it in there, but again, that's something in the woods you'll want to do a little bit quieter than what I just did. The next piece to this puzzle is your cell phone mount. Stomped on it so it's a little bit dirty, but it's just like this. Basically, you unscrew it right here and then you put your phone in it and it goes into the camera arm like so. The last thing, and I usually do this dead last, is you're going to put the camera lens on the phone itself. Okay, I'm going to do this in real time so you guys see about how long it takes to line it up, but essentially you're putting this camera zoom lens over this camera in your phone, and sometimes this is a little bit easier to do from the arm. You'll just have to kind of play around with it and find the easiest way for you, but I'm going to do this real time here so you guys can see about how long it takes me to line it up. That is all she wrote. And then once you got that done, this is the final step. You set it into the camera mount and you tighten it down, and you are now ready to film your hunts. Pretty neat, huh? So typically what I like to do when I get in the tree stand is I'll leave the zoom lens off at first and I'll shoot some B-roll. I'll do a time lapse because most iPhones come with a time lapse feature. I'll do a time lapse of the sun coming up. I'll do some shots of me sitting in the stand. I'll do some wide angle pans of where I'm at. And about the time shooting light starts, that's when I'll put the zoom lens on. One, because you need a little bit of light to see if the lens is lined up to the camera lens okay. But 2, because this lens isn't really good for shooting B-roll or wide angle shots or anything like that. So yeah, that's pretty much the setup. The last little bit I want to talk about are the pros and cons to this type of setup. There's some good, there's some bad, and we're going to talk about them both. So let's talk about the good. It is super cheap to get into this type of setup. It doesn't require a lot of time, money, energy, or gear, and you likely already know how to use your phone, I would hope. So you can get into a setup like this basically for just purchasing a camera arm and a mount and a zoom lens kit. The zoom lens kit runs about 50 bucks. The camera arm runs about 60 bucks, and then your phone mount you probably already have, or you can pick one of those up for like 20 bucks and get you a tripod with it. Super, super cheap to get into, doesn't require a whole lot of time or energy, and the footage is actually decent. I think you could actually run a YouTube channel or put out some, medium grade hunting videos using this method. With the good, you're also going to have some bad, and we're going to spend a little bit of time on that too, because there are some cons to this type of setup too. The first con that I want to talk about is the actual zoom lens itself. The only zoom lenses I've been able to find are a fixed power, meaning you cannot change how far in you zoom or how far back it zooms out. It is just zoomed. It's like a 5 power or 9, whatever that is. With that being said, it will get good, clear footage all the way out to about 100 yards of an animal or animals that you're trying to film. The bad news to that is if you've got anything within about 20 yards, it's really hard to keep that animal in the frame if it's moving and you're trying to get a shot. Basically, an animal will take up the entire screen if it's within 20 yards in my experience. I try to, if an animal's coming in that close, take the actual zoom lens off and just use the phone, but that can be kind of hard to manage in the heat of the moment when everything's going down, so I would consider that a con. The second con is going to be that the lens on the phone, the zoom lens that you put on there, sticks out from the phone quite a bit. So you want to make sure that your camera arm is rock solid, because any bump or movement is going to make that lens on the end of that phone shake. That in turn is going to give you shaky footage. So you want to make sure that your camera arm is really locked in tight. But inevitably, if you got to move the camera for that shot or you bump it, it shakes pretty good. Or if you're trying to film a moving animal. That being said, it really, really is a super cost-effective way to see if you like filming hunts. If you like it, you don't have to stick with that method forever. You can always upgrade to something a little bit better like I did. Just bought a Panasonic camera. I've had a couple of hunts filmed out of it and I'm liking it a whole lot better. And now I'm using my phone for action shots, but it lets you dip your toes into the world of filming hunts for not a lot of money, and you just can't hardly beat it for starting out. So hopefully that helps some of you guys out. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Make sure, if you like what I'm doing, that you like the video and you subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.